Welcome to the Healthy Christian Leader. I'm Dwight Habermel. Come join me in the living room for some honest conversations. I'll be talking to guests about their journey with Christ through the joys, the challenges, and the messiness of leadership. There's always something to learn from someone's story, so let's get started. Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the Healthy Christian Leader. I have our guest today, Jay Guptill, from Made for More Ministries, and that's .ca, by the way. I learned in our last session together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Jay, I'm excited to have you here because you've pastored for 40 years,
Correct.
Which is an incredible milestone. And now you're coaching and mentoring pastors in Made for More Ministries in this season.
Right.
How available is this ministry for leaders? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, an easy and quick way is just go to our website, madeformoreministries.ca. You'll be able to see what we are offering as services to people. My wife and I co-found and co-direct Made for More Ministries. She does a lot of work on the coaching side. I do work on the counseling side. She's certified with ICF and is going to be able to help people with coaching. I'm a licensed counselor, and so between the two of us, we can work individually, but we have also done things in a hybrid version. So we walked with couples in ministry. We've been able to help people who are not in ministry, but on an individual basis are looking for support. So we have done some of those things. We've also done intensives, which is a lot of work in a short period of time. 2 or 3 days, getting in, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of work that really gets to a core issue if somebody is coming for help and support. We also offer some group opportunities. We have opportunities to work with boards and talk with boards about that. So the best thing is, if you're interested in more, go to madeformoreministries.ca, check it out, and then if there's something there that interests you, certainly reach out.
That's awesome. Well, today we want to talk about drawing from that experience, recovering and rebuilding after burnout, which is such an important topic, particularly in the post-COVID period.
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of leaders have experienced burnout during the COVID period? And if so, why?
Yeah, well, I think COVID threw everybody into a new way of church life that surprised, I think, a lot of pastors. I know in my own experience, the reality of people who were polarized on certain viewpoints and put expectations on the church, of which then the pastor had to navigate that. When you have somebody saying, I'm not coming back to church until you do this, and somebody saying, I'm not coming back to church unless you do this. And then, as I discovered, and I've heard a lot of people say, they got ghosted by a whole bunch of people. They just left and never said anything and you couldn't communicate anymore with them. Those are hard times when it seems like, church life was going pretty well. Lots of churches have rebounded and come back and they've found support, but there can be that residual effect on a lot of leaders that it's kind of left me a little bit uncertain about where are people. And could the next opposition to how we're managing something, what's that going to look like? So, did a lot of pastors burn out? I'm not sure if they burned out, but I think they were definitely affected. And how have they done to kind of regroup and restore to what will be a good going forward future, right? Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the restorative side.
Sure.
When a leader has hit a wall, what are some key first steps towards recovery?
Yeah, I think there's some really easy ones that can start. Number one, go get a medical appointment with your doctor, get a baseline of a physical exam, right? Again, sometimes we put things into everything spiritual. And our physical body obviously is created by God and it's sacred. But then there are things that might be happening in our body that could just simply be a doctor doing an exam to say, hey, this is going on. Let's pay attention to this. Maybe there's some things that we can improve on just to help, with your physiological components of your life. So get a doctor's appointment to start. So that's a great place to go. Reach out to somebody who you trust to begin a conversation. I don't think I'm doing well.
Right.
I don't think I'm okay. And I just want to check that out. And would you be okay if I talked with you? So I think it's good for us to be able to, take that step, take the risk, find the courage to open up with somebody so that you can begin to address, okay, is there something I'm missing in my life that I need to pay attention to, right? Certainly, if you have another leader in your group of churches or someone that you can turn to say, what's available? What is in place? I know in our own background of district churches, there were already systems in place so that you could get support right away. You didn't have to wait. And there is some insurance that sometimes can pick up extra appointments. Now, I know that's not the case for every pastor, but learn what is available. Try to know that before so that hey, I have a place to go to if I know I'm burning down and I need to talk to somebody or get the support I need. So those would be some quick, easy ways to go, hey, if I know I'm not where I need to be, don't just sit there and wait, because that's just not going to help. It's like, I'm just going to keep getting worse. So take some steps, do some things to get, kind of this out in the open and see if you can start to change that path. Yeah.
How do counseling and coaching each play a role in the process of restoration?
Yeah. I would say early on, counseling is probably going to be more important than coaching. Part of the counseling journey is, okay, what has brought me to this point? What are some things that I need to look at that I might have avoided, I haven't been paying attention to? How did this sneak up on me? And all of a sudden I'm burning down, or I've kind of gotten to a point where I don't have the passion I once had. So I think it's good to look back and understand what are some lessons I need to learn, what are some things that I may have avoided, I've been unwilling to address. So that's part of what counseling gets to do. But then there could be that transition to coaching. Hey, I feel like I'm starting to find some new rhythms. I want to go forward now. So what do I need to put in place? How do I counteract the things that I once did with new practices and new rhythms? So again, oftentimes counseling is looking back, coaching is going from today, looking forward. So I see the benefit of both of them in the overall journey of recovery and restoration.
No, that's good. So good. What are some practices, spiritual, emotional, or physical, that you've seen really help pastors rebuild their strength?
Yeah. I think one thing is just going, how am I paying attention to my body? What is my body telling me? Do I feel lethargic? Do I feel like I don't have any energy? A lot of that comes because we have kind of isolated ourselves and pulled away from practices that are just plain good for us. How can I exercise? How can I eat well? How can I sleep well? I mean, those are three big areas that I think always come into play, so I need to pay attention to that. How am I isolating myself from others? Am I pulling away and not building community with people? So what does that community look like? Well, I guess it depends on who are your contacts, who are your friends, who are the people that you can build relationship with. If I don't want to be around people, that should be a sign that, okay, I'm kind of isolating myself, which is not going to be good long term. So who can I build relationship with where I can get together for coffee? I can go on walks. I can hang out with people and feel like I'm real, right? I think it's Archibald Hart who made this statement that I've heard used different times. It's not that pastors forget that they're pastors. It's that they forget that they're persons.
Yeah.
And we get so preoccupied with our role and our performance and how we do things that we forget we're people. And we have got to face things in our lives. One of the practices that I think can be, I think as pastors, we're guilty of it way too much. We don't lament the losses in our life. We just don't want to go there. So we're missing a very important part of recognizing that hurt. That was not good. That experience, I feel disappointment, and I don't know what to do with it. So what do? I just suck it up, and I push through because that's what you're supposed to do. And at some point, are we learning to lament in a good way that really does help us process loss and disappointment and hurts that have come our way? So that might be helpful for some, just to think about that. How do I recover? How do I come through this?
Well, you can, and I would think you can lead and lament at the same time.
Sure.
Like, I think, as leaders, we need to separate our pain when we're walking into, that administrative scenario, that responsibility scenario, but yet connect at that very same time. It might be an hour or two later, or it might be that evening or the next day with someone who can help us process our pain.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, people in ministry have probably walked into the hospital, as I have done a few times, and you're going to celebrate with a family that's just had a new birth and a new child, and then you're going down the hall to mourn with somebody who is now dealing with the loss of a loved one. And it's like, how do you manage that as a leader, right? Like, how do I do that? And think about the times that people in our church that we are very close to, we have a strong connection, and all of a sudden they pass away. But
or they leave.
We're responsible to try and be there in support to the family. But we're grieving just as much, not as much because we're not close family, but boy, we feel close to this person. But we have to keep it together to lead. Well, then what do we do with that afterwards? Are we just kind of, move right on, or have we actually processed our own grief?
How did this impact me?
And I think there's too many times that we aren't taking the time to do that. And I think that can be a really, really helpful thing.
Well, and I would imagine, too, that you can have a narrative in your mind of, this is just part of my job, it's part of my responsibility, but neglect the idea of the fact that you're a human being at the same time.
Yeah. There's a great kind of three-step way to think of this. As a leader, a pastor, front stage, backstage, off stage. I have my role that's up front that I do and lead and want to do the best I can. But then there's backstage, where people don't necessarily see all that happens and what I do, but I still have that role. But then there's off stage, and that is when I need to unplug and step away from the ministry role at the end of the day, and I'm dad, and I'm husband, and I'm community leader, or I'm, hockey player, or I'm pickleball player. I don't care what it is. It's like, where am I growing in that area of my life, knowing that that's a part of the support that if I don't pay attention to it, and I'm always on stage, front stage, if that's my modus of operandi, it's like, that's all I'm doing. I might be missing what's going on in the backstage and off stage. So it might be just a way for people to process what that means for them.
Yeah, that's a fantastic analogy. I like that. What can church boards or leadership teams do to create culture that normalizes rest and restoration?
That's a great question, because every church board may approach things from the culture of the people on the board. Meaning
like a corporate culture, or
it could be. It could be. What's your performance? Do we have realistic expectations? Have we had honest conversations about the role of the pastor of our church. I just talked to a pastor recently who said, I feel like I have a number of leaders who are all board members. They're all speaking about what they believe, the way I should pastor, the way the church should go. Well, how in the world could any leader have multiple voices all speaking their own agenda as to what and how the church should go? Way too many times there has been unrealistic expectations placed on a pastor. You've got to be an expert in counseling, in preaching, in visionary, in finance, in, the list goes on. And it's like, where do I start and stop as a leader? Well, a board has a lot to play into that. So an example, I think this comes from Pete Scazzaro and his work. There's a place where there is a place for a performance review, say at the end of the year. Nothing wrong with that. Can we talk about how this year has gone? Are there some areas that we want to celebrate? Are there some areas that we think there could be some improvements? I think that's healthy for every leader to have an annual kind of perspective on that. Could there be an annual self-care review? How are you doing taking your Sabbath? Are you taking your time off, your vacation, and days off? Are you getting support and help? Boards don't often ask that. And could boards build into their budget finances to promote that, to be able to have opportunities to send their pastor away? I heard of one church that said, we have built into our budget that every year we're going to send one of our pastoral staff away to a significant retreat that they can renew, they can be enriched, they can be refreshed, they can get counseling, whatever the need is, but we're building that in. So every year there's somebody who's going to an experience. Well, that takes finances, but it takes intentionality on the board's part to say, we're not just going to go, well, where's the money going to come from? And we don't know how we're going to do this. It's like, no, they're actually being intentional as well about the care of their pastor. So it's got to be a both and. I mean, the pastor has to advocate, but the board can also say, we are here to do whatever we can to support you. And so I think it's got to be a kind of a joint effort, but the board has to be willing to I guess, address it and look at, okay, are we doing what we need to do to help support our pastors? And oftentimes that can be a financial support, but it's also verbal. We're expecting you to actually get help and to go away and to take care of yourself.
Now, it seems to me like your Made for More Ministries does work with boards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there could be an educational component.
There is.
For boards in terms of how to nurture and manage staff and team and leadership. Yeah,
I would say we would lean more on the side of the individual in their self-care versus leadership. There's so many good people that are doing leadership development.
Right.
We love that too, but we're like, how can we, focus on our niche, which is how does a board actually care for its pastor? And we do have kind of an opportunity to walk a board through a number of topics that would be very important to consider for the self-care of their leader. And
right.
So we do have that opportunity.
Oh, that's excellent. And there's so many different styles of board and
exactly.
Definitely policy governance is a very healthy style. But with that, adding in a component that is there for the care of leaders.
That's right.
So good.
Yeah.
When someone has walked through burnout, what does a healthy re-entry into ministry look like?
Yeah, great question. I think the quick answer is it's got to take time. I think there's been way too many times where it's like, okay, can you take a few weeks off and maybe we'll send you away to something, and by the time you come back, you're all good. And you're back in the trenches again, right? Well, that may not be quite as quick as that, right? I think there needs to be a longer term way of thinking about re-entry. Because by the time if somebody has come to, man, I am really feeling burned out, that's really now the beginning of admitting there's something going on that it's going to take a good period of time to re-enter. I think another important part is to go, am I re-entering as I was, or is there going to be a new me?
Right.
Because if it's the way I was, but I wasn't paying attention to things that led to the burnout, do I really want to go back to that? Or is there going to be a new me, a new person that gets developed with new practices, new attitudes, new focus that is going to help me to go forward in greater strength than the way it was before? So I think it needs to be a little longer term. What I mean by that would be it's probably going to start with some support, some counseling, maybe getting away for a retreat or a comprehensive kind of review. It's coming back and maybe possibly phasing in over a period of time so there's not overload. And I think that's going to be based on each person in church, but I think it's great to have a more comprehensive long-term plan than just hey, go on a sabbatical, take 30 days and get some rest, and when you come back, you'll be good as gold, right? It's like, okay, hold it. That seems too structured and too in a box that puts this expectation, you'll get this covered, right? And hold it, that's not the way to approach it. It's got to be a longer term care approach.
Well, I know that I had a family member that went through burnout. And I would think there's a bit of a spectrum in burnout. In that situation, it was clinical burnout. And there were a lot of physical signs that came that were fairly intensive and emotional. And it was a period for them and their family that was really significant because it wasn't possible to be, even to go to the grocery store as an example. Daily routines were very, very hard for them. Right. And I would imagine there's a bit of a spectrum when it comes to burnout because you wear down, you wear down, you wear down. And if you don't intervene at some point, you can go beyond being burned out and worn out to a very deep level of clinical burnout, which I would assume takes a great deal longer to recover from.
I mean, let's put it in the physical body. If we have an infection that starts here and we do nothing about it, and then it spreads, and then it continues through the body, obviously a person's at risk for infection through the system, that you just don't say, here, take a couple pills and you're going to be fine, right? No, it's going to take a longer journey of recovery. So from a physical standpoint, we get that. So why not from an emotional and intellectual standpoint of, man, no, I'm not good, and it's going to take time. And there are some good ways to maybe start with that. I don't know if there would be show notes and so on, but I can put a couple of resources that would be like, here's a couple of self-assessments to be able to do a look at, where do I think I might be at, right? I can do work with people to be able to do a comprehensive assessment of where am I at, and if that's something that would be of interest, and I'm sure there are others as well that I could certainly direct people to, but it's like, you know what, I just really feel like I need to have somebody help me to understand the big picture of how did I get here, but what's it going to take to go forward. That's something that is available.
Well, I know David here in the studio is a technological genius, so I am sure if anybody would be able to get those notes out, he will. So, David, can we get those notes out?
Sure can.
Okay, nice. Yes, we can. That's great.
Good.
As you reflect on new research around pastoral flourishing, what gives you hope for the future of healthy leadership in the church?
Well, I know it will sound like the cliche answer, but because I believe in a God who not only can redeem, he can restore, and he can provide for us everything we need to flourish, I guess there has to be a foundation of that hope that it is possible, right? So it's not like, hey, the sky is falling, there's no hope, there's no possibility. So I think sometimes it's just, hey, there is somebody who believes this can actually get better. Now, from a lot of new research and things that are coming out that are really helpful on the topic of human flourishing and positive psychology, which again, those are two maybe technical terms in our current era, but I think they fit very well with Scripture. You know, think about these things. What is good? What is noble? What is right? What is trustworthy? You know, and so on.
Right.
So human flourishing and positive psychology, again, I don't want to say, okay, we're just taking spirituality out of it. And yet so many times we are being convinced either by our own inability to think through, the evil one trying to convince us and condemn us and accuse us, things that have been said to us, things that are still being said about us. Are we accepting that as the truth and not stepping forward? Or is there a belief that God is good, the future is bright, I can have a good life, well-being is there for me to seek after? And so that mindset, I think, is really important. And there's been a lot of research to show having that mindset does speak to our mental health and our well-being. So I think there's a lot of positives that are ahead of us that we can continue to look at.
Oh, that's so very, very good. Jay Guptill, Made for More Ministries. Jay, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it so much. Don't forget to look for those resources on the YouTube channel, or you can connect to the website if you're listening by radio. And Jay, again, thank you.
It's been great to be here.
And we'll see you next time on The Healthy Christian Leader. Well, thanks for joining this conversation. I trust that you were encouraged and challenged by the stories and experiences that were shared today. Would you join us next week? You can find new episodes weekly in video form on the Aaron Ministries YouTube page and in audio form wherever you get your podcasts. Aaron Ministries is an interdenominational network of friends in ministry with a mission to foster healthy Christian leadership. Check out our website, aaronministries.com, for more information and resources and on how you can donate to our ministry and potentially start a healthy Christian leader gathering in your area. Until we meet again, may you experience the Lord's blessing, grace, and peace. I'll see you next week.